Hello students, this is Dr. S.R. Pagare from K.J.Somaiya College of Arts, Commerce and Science, Kopargaon, and I welcome you to the new session of Cost and Works Accounting. In today's session, we shall be discussing on the elements of cost and especially the division of cost and the classification of cost. So, let's begin with division of cost. What is division of cost? In earlier section, we have learned the three elements of cost, that is material, labor and expenses. Every element of cost is again subdivided into direct material and indirect material, indirect labor and direct labor, direct expenses and indirect expenses. We have also seen in earlier lecture that the total of direct material, labor and expenses is termed as prime cost, whereas the total of indirect material, labor and expenses is termed as overheads. In today's session, we shall learn the division of cost. The division of cost is obtained with the help of elements of cost. Cost is divided as follows: prime cost, works cost or factory cost, cost of production, total cost or cost of sales, and the selling price. Now let's see first what is prime cost. This is the total of direct material, direct labor and direct expenses. Hence the formula is direct material plus direct labor plus direct expenses is equal to prime cost. Next, works cost. Works cost is also known as factory cost. It is the total of prime cost and the factory or works overheads. So the formula is prime cost plus works overheads is equal to works cost. Third, cost of production. This is the total of works cost and administrative overheads. That means if administrative overheads are added to the total of works cost, what we get is cost of production. Cost of production is also known as gross cost. So we can say that the formula is works cost plus administrative overheads is equal to cost of production. Now let's see what are the total cost. Total cost is also known as cost of sales. It is the total cost of production when added with selling and distribution overheads. It is the total expenditure incurred on production, administration, selling and distribution of products manufactured. Hence the formula is cost of production plus selling and distribution overheads is equal to total cost. Now let's see what is selling price. The formula used for computation is as follows. When we get the figure of total cost, the company has to add a number of profit or the value of loss. Company can't add the value of loss, but considering the competition in the market, if it decides to sell the product below the total cost, then what we get is the selling price. If total cost is rupees 10 and if profit added is rupees 1, naturally the selling price will be 10 plus 1 is equal to 11. But if the total cost is 10 and the company, considering the market competition, decides to sell the product at 1 rupee less, that means minus 1, then the total cost will be 10, loss of 1 rupees and the selling price naturally will be rupees 9. Now let's see what is classification of cost. Cost classification means grouping of cost according to their common characteristics. It is the process of grouping the items together which are same. We can define it as classification is the identification of each item and the systematic placement of like items together according to their common features. Classification is the identification of each item and the systematic placement of like items together according to the common features. Now, why the need of cost classification? The need for cost classification arises because of having to use cost data for a variety of purposes. For different purposes, different kinds of cost information is required. Therefore, cost must be arranged and classified in such a manner that they can be combined in different ways to serve different purposes. Now, these different purposes can be classified as follows. First, ascertainment of profits periodically. Second, budgeting and planning process. Third, controlling of cost. Fourth, pricing policy. And fifth, current application of plans and policies. From this figure, it can be clear. That means ascertainment of profits periodically, budgeting and planning process. Third, controlling of cost. Fourth, pricing policies. And fifth, current application of plans and policies. Now let's see each of these in detail. First is ascertainment of profits periodically. Classification of cost helps to provide adequate costing records to the management. Such data may be necessary for preparation of balance sheet and statement of profit and loss. It also explains in detail the major source of profit or loss revealed by the financial accounts. Thus, it helps in the ascertainment of profits periodically. Second, budgeting and planning process. Classification of cost helps in preparation of the budget of business organizations. For preparing the budget of a manufacturing unit, one must know how and where exactly the expenses have been incurred in relation to manufacturing of the product. On the basis of this classification of cost, a manufacturer accordingly prepares the budget. Third, controlling of cost. With the help of cost classification, an organization can control its material, labor and overhead cost. Now let's see how material can be controlled. Material can be controlled if material wastage is avoided and proper standardization of material issue is made. Let's see how labor can be controlled. If the labor completes the work in given time and with efficiency, then the organization can reduce the size of labor. Same way for expenses. By knowing the actual amount that has been incurred under various heads, organization can find the suitable way to reduce the cost. Pricing policies. The classification of cost in fixed and variable elements enables the organization to adopt the most appropriate pricing policy. Since cost classification helps to classify the cost of each unit, it gives an idea about the cost of production. This awareness helps to decide the adequate selling price. Last one, current application of plans and policies. The classification of cost in fixed and variable elements helps the management in taking managerial decisions such as current application of plan policies, capacity decision, operate or close down decisions, etc. Thus, classification of cost is very essential for not only ascertainment of cost but also for decision making purpose. In today's session, we have learned the division of cost, meaning and definition of cost classification, and the 5 needs for cost classification. In next section, we shall continue topic of cost and works accounting. Till then, have a good day.